My son is terrified of his father. Today I found out the disgusting things he did to him. Ever since my son Lucas was a toddler, he's had this unshakable fear of his father, Mark. It wasn't always like this. When Lucas was younger, he looked up to Mark with admiration. They'd play games together, go on fishing trips, and Mark was always the doting dad. But as Lucas grew older, the fear started creeping in. It began subtly. Lucas would flinch at loud noises, his eyes darting nervously when Mark raised his voice even slightly. He avoided spending time alone with him, often seeking refuge in my company. At first, I thought it was a phase or perhaps just a reaction to Mark's sternness. I never imagined that there could be something more sinister behind it. Mark dismissed my concerns with a shrug, claiming that Lucas was simply being sensitive. I wanted to believe him. After all, Mark had always been a loving father in public, and there was no reason for me to doubt him. But the more I observed, the more I felt something wasn't right. Lucas's fear was palpable, and it only grew stronger over time. Then, one evening, everything changed. I was cleaning up the house when I found a small, hidden compartment in Lucas's room. It was behind a loose panel in the wall. Inside, I discovered a stack of journals and notebooks, each one filled with Lucas's handwriting. At first glance, they seemed like typical childhood scribbles, but as I flipped through them, I realized they were a chronicle of Lucas's life, one that painted a disturbing picture. The entries detailed incidents that left me horrified. Lucas described in vivid detail how Mark would isolate him, making him perform degrading tasks and threatening him if he didn't comply. There were notes about how Mark would lock him in a small closet for hours, depriving him of food and water as punishment for minor mistakes. Some of the entries were graphic, detailing physical abuse that made my stomach churn. One particularly disturbing entry described how Mark would use a belt to inflict pain on Lucas, leaving bruises and welts across his body. Lucas wrote about how Mark would mock him and belittle him, telling him he was worthless and that no one would believe him if he spoke out. The entries were a heart-wrenching account of a child's suffering. The deeper I read, the more my heart sank. It became clear that Mark was not the father I thought he was. The loving facade had been a mask concealing a monster. Lucas had been living in constant fear, subjected to abuse that no child should ever have to endure. I confronted Mark that night. The look of surprise on his face quickly turned to anger as I read aloud some of the entries. He tried to deny everything at first, but the evidence was irrefutable. His demeanor shifted from defensive to dismissive, and then to a disturbing calmness as he admitted to some of the abuse, downplaying the severity of his actions. My world shattered. The man I had trusted with my child had betrayed that trust in the most horrific way imaginable. I immediately sought help for Lucas, reaching out to child protection services and therapists to ensure he received the support he needed. The process of untangling the damage Mark had caused was long and painful, but it was a necessary step toward healing. Mark was eventually removed from our home and faced legal consequences for his actions. The journey to rebuild trust and safety for Lucas was challenging, but we worked through it together. I vowed to protect him and make sure he felt safe and loved, no matter what.